3, 2, talk. Hello, CrossFit Fordham community. We are back. Episode 3 of Fordham Talk. We're about to take flight.
Yes, sir.
Catch a stride right here.
Yep.
My name is Nick, here with Josh. Today's topic is nutrition, right?
Nutrition. I love nutrition.
Yeah.
Didn't always love nutrition, but I feel like I've learned a lot being a gym owner. So
I
can't
think
wait
you
to
have
talk about
to.
this.
You have to. Trial by fire.
Yeah.
So the goal of today, we're going to basically give context on where we are coming from with our nutrition. We're going to tell our personal nutrition stories, our own journeys. Nutrition is a highly individual and personal thing. I think it's helpful to take the stigma off talking about it by us opening up, sharing our journeys, our pitfalls that we have stepped into.
And how important it is.
Yeah.
Right? How important we have come to see that it is for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And definitely going from our personal stories to what kind of perspectives are important to us and that we try to teach to people at the gym to help them get to their fittest, healthiest selves. So to open this up a little bit, question for you, Josh.
Yeah.
What's the most ridiculous thing you've ever done with your nutrition in the name of getting healthier, fitter, performing better? What is it?
I knew you were going to ask this question. I knew probably you knew what story I was going to say when I was going over the notes. But when I started counting macros, and we'll get in this in my story a little bit, but once I started counting macros, never had done that before. I was bulking, right? So I wanted to put on size. I wanted to put on muscle. And I had to eat a lot of food, like a lot of food. And with macros, right, the macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fat, I had a fat number that I had to hit. I was pretty obsessed with hitting those numbers.
Like
if
precisely.
Precisely, yeah. Like not even 0.3 over. So it was like, which is funny, right? We kind of debunked that later about perfection. But yeah, I was in that. And one night I had a lot of fat that I had to hit that I did not hit during the day. I was way behind. And I made a straight up olive oil and heavy cream shake. I think it was like 5 tablespoons of olive oil, probably like 70 grams of heavy cream, and then water in there, and I blended it up and chugged it.
You mean to tell me you didn't have peanut butter that you could have done?
I didn't. I don't think I had peanut butter in the house. I wanted it to be fast.
Oh my!
Like gosh. I wanted to drink it, and that's another thing that was not good. But I did that. Felt great. Hit my number.
Went to bed.
So happy. Went to bed. Woke up sweating. Like feel like I had a fever. Obviously, it was my body rejecting all that fat at once. And yeah, was not pretty.
Never did that again, right?
Never did that again.
Sounds like something off Fear Factor.
Yeah.
You remember that? Fear Factor?
Yeah, definitely. That's probably what it looked like. But yeah, that is something that I will never do again.
Wild. I don't think I have anything that's quite that absurd. There was a huge period of time where I was trying to really also be very precise with my nutrition but also feeling hungry. So I would just eat for the craziest volume. Like I would get a bowl, like huge bowl, and just make the most massive salad day after day after day. And it would take me like 45 minutes to eat this thing. And for some reason, I thought that was just like so helpful because I would end up staying within my numbers.
Wow.
So
salad.
There are some crazy, ridiculous things you can do with your nutrition.
Yeah.
Okay, let's open it up a little bit. I'll start with my nutrition background and just kind of all the way back to when I was a kid. I grew up on probably the most horrendous standard American diet you could think of. No concept of food quality at all. I mean, we're talking, if you watched like 30 minutes of 90s commercials, like it was basically everything I ate. Like Gushers, fruit roll-ups, Apple Jacks, Pop-Tarts, all of it, right?
Breakfast cereal.
Yeah, of course. Candy, soda, everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to roast my parents right now, but nobody knew any better. for the most
Right.
part. For the most part. And it was just, there was nothing that was off limits for me to eat, right? It was just if it was there, it's good. Um, you know, I don't know that I necessarily struggled with my weight a ton as a kid. I wasn't super active. I was just kind of a normal kid, right? But fast forward to my teenage years, most people don't know this about me, but I had lymphoma as a teen.
Right.
So blood cell cancer, that was just complete shock. Came
How
out
old
of
were you?
nowhere. I was 16.
16. Wow.
16 at the time. And that came about with just some really bad pain that I was having.
Hmm.
MRIs lit it up or whatever. But
Yeah.
nowadays, looking back, I would attribute it to lifestyle factors, things I put in my body, being inactive, not getting out and just enjoying outdoors, all those kind of things. So I went through chemotherapy, radiation, all that stuff. Definitely shaped my approach with health in a good way. It pushed me towards finding something to be healthy with. That led me to CrossFit. That led me to nutrition.
And you started CrossFit how long after that?
Probably 2007. So
Okay, yeah.
it was right after I would finish that stuff and kind of rolled into CrossFit.
Nice.
Was introduced to it. And with the years of doing CrossFit, tried basically everything under the sun with nutrition. At the time, the Zone was the thing to do. I know you have some experience with the Zone as well.
Yes.
The evolution of the Zone farther down the road was tracking macros.
Yep.
Definitely something I've tried. Within tracking macros, you can refine it even more to saying there's only certain foods I'm going to eat. So things like paleo, things like carnivore-ish type diets, autoimmune protocols, which is removing all sorts of different things that could be irritating to your body.
Yep.
Dairy-free, all this kind of stuff. I've pretty much tried it all. I think in some ways, the things I went through as a youth have kind of made my body not love a lot of different kinds of food and makes it a little more sensitive. So I think that contributes to how much I was trying to figure things out. And even different protocols, did a huge period of time with intermittent fasting, which I actually think ended up having a pretty negative effect in the long run.
And that's pretty popular, honestly.
It is.
I see a lot of people do that.
It is. And I think you can get some short-term benefits, but you reap some not so good long-term rewards. But really my goal was to just find this perfect diet that felt effortless, optimal, sustainable. I wanted it to just be kept chasing this thing out there. If I just figure out this one combination of removing this food, adding this, or this amount of intake to just feel amazing.
Yeah.
And in some ways, trying to chase after something like that is good. But when it becomes obsessive, when it becomes unsustainable, that's where I think I definitely had to learn a lot of things the hard way with my nutrition. And overall, I think it's helped me be able to help others by learning a lot about these different kinds of things.
I know you helped me.
Yeah. The Polymas are my favorite clients, Josh and Jackie. Open to questions 24/7. And it just allowed me to store up knowledge because I was seeking it for myself. I was trying to learn about all these different things, and just being open to experimenting, which I think is a good thing. Because nutrition is highly individual, you should be willing and open to find what's good for you and find what's right for you. And I think I kind of learned that in my own nutrition journey, that there's no one size fits all solution, and it should just be a continual, almost like your own science experiment.
Yeah.
So big takeaways for me was trial and error is a good thing. You don't have to just do the same thing forever. Different needs and different seasons of life will kind of carry you different ways with your nutrition. And in the end, trying to find principles that are good and sound, because there are good and sound principles for nutrition. It's not like there are things that only apply to you and no one else, right? Yeah. But that's better to try and find good principles over precise, rigid, specific rules.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's me.
That's you.
Josh, what's your nutrition background?
I think as a kid, similar to you, I think my parents, looking back, they didn't know any better. And not that it was horrible. I remember eating Whole Foods and things like that, but definitely, you got the Little Debbie's Ho-Hos and in the freezer as a snack and as a
In the
pregame.
freezer?
Yeah, freezer. Yeah. Hey, go buy a Ho-Ho, put it in the freezer, try it out. It's phenomenal.
Oh man.
I
You heard it here.
actually don't like sweets anymore, but certain sweets, I guess. Every
Ice
once in a
cream?
while, is sweet. Yeah, ice cream.
I know
Yeah,
your
that's a
weakness.
weakness.
I know.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think vividly remember I played a lot. I was very active. Played all the sports, season after season. Small school, so we could play everything. And I remember our baseball team. We would get on the bus and go to away games, and we would stop at the grocery store. And my pregame meal was Skittles, sour Skittles, soft serve ice cream, like a hot dog that was on that turning thing,
Oh my
in the
God.
gas station, and I guess soda. I stopped having soda when I was in 8th grade because they told me a guy who went to the NFL gave up soda and he made it to the NFL. He was a person from around us. So ever since then, I didn't have soda, but I'm not in the NFL, so that didn't work. But I don't drink soda. But
Wait, would you put the sour Skittles on the soft serve ice cream?
no,
Okay.
no.
Because I actually know that turns Skittles rock hard. So that tells you a little bit more about my nutrition background. But anyways, we're talking about you.
No, yeah. So yeah, and I just remembered that. But went to college. We had the cafeteria. Same thing. Just eat everything and anything. Played college soccer and baseball. So I lifted a lot. Went to the weight room a lot. So really didn't have no effect on me that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
Probably did though, or most likely. But found CrossFit 2013. And my whole milk. They tell you in football in high school and whole milk and PB&Js as much as you possibly can, and that's what I did. So I had kind of a running joke back then at CrossFit Connect that I lived off PB&Js, most cost efficient.
I witnessed you
they actually
eat many a PB&J.
Very good. And then I think there was one workout, an open workout, where I pushed so hard. I think I threw up after every workout. And they told me maybe you should rethink how you feel your body. And then insert zone, right? They told me to do zone. Not really, didn't understand why. I knew what blocks I had to hit. It was more of like, okay, I have these blocks, I got to hit it, and I'll do it because it's going to make me more fit and it's going to make me perform better. So I did that, listened to that, and then we got into the macros. I think you kind of remember that shift, right? Zone is a way, kind of a general way to eat. Then you can really, like you said, focus in on the different, macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fat. Wanted to bulk, wanted to get bigger. I was like 165 pounds probably. I wanted to be bigger and more muscle. So they gave me numbers to do that. And I said, yep, here we go. And I hit my numbers. And I obsessed over that and got bigger, put on muscle.
It worked.
It worked because I followed it. Gained the understanding of that, we want in the zone. I knew that you needed to balance it out, right? Protein, carbs, and fat. You can't eat all fat. Can't eat just protein. The different things that it does for your body. But then I took my L1. Right, came up. Jackie and I bought CrossFit or Kinnick, now Fordham. Took my L1 and really loved the nutrition lecture. And really understood the zone more.
Yeah.
And really opened my eyes more to that when people prioritize nutrition and fitness, right, and then healthy habits, those are the people that thrive and see a difference, and it changes their lives.
Mm-hmm.
It brought a whole new perspective once I took my L1 to the CrossFit methodology, that nutrition is the most important thing that you can dial in.
100%.
You can work out all you want, but if your nutrition isn't dialed in, you're only getting some of the results that you could.
Yeah.
And that really opened my eyes to helping people and wanting to help people. The mission here, owning the gym, that a real transformation, a real change of your lifestyle starts with nutrition. Sometimes we only talk about and think about the working out part, which is very, very important. We want you to be consistent in workouts, but I think the knowledge and understanding how to apply a good nutrition, not diet, I think like a lot of people, I got to go on a diet. And a lot of times, like it's called the zone diet, but a lot of times that perspective kind of shifts people away from nutrition.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to go on a diet. I don't want to not eat. I don't want to be restricted.
The diet sounds temporary,
Correct.
right?
And it's more of
more.
this holistic approach, which we'll get into, of nutrition is very important.
Yeah.
And throughout my whole life till this point, I've realized that.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I think you touched on something good, which is nutrition is part of CrossFit. It's not like you do CrossFit and then, you also want to focus on your nutrition. That's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
100%. All right, cool. So we got our backgrounds here. Now we're going to basically shift into some kind of key perspectives that shape how we think about nutrition now. A lot of mindset things here.
Yep.
Again, with this episode, we're trying to stay very high level and talk mostly about mindset. Future episodes will be more specific and more nitty gritty.
Yep.
But I think this is a really good starting place.
Yeah, I think mindset, we'll talk about some food quality things. And then I think a very beneficial thing that we could talk about is some pitfalls that even I fall into and that we see regularly.
Yeah.
That can really help you, I think, if you kind of think about these things and implement these types of things into your life.
Yeah, totally. And keep in mind, as we talk about these things, these are as much reminders for us as
100%.
they are for anyone listening now. Nutrition is nothing that anyone perfects, and everyone needs reminders to keep their focus.
And it's hard work.
It's hard, yeah.
It's not easy. It's not something that we think about that we want to do. It can be daunting. And I think just the knowledge of kind of what we're going to talk about and just kind of thinking through these things is going to be good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about is the mindset shift that a lot of people have where they're thinking in the wrong ways about their nutrition. One of them, and I know I fall prey to this big time, is thinking short term or looking backwards with your nutrition. You could think of this as like, I ate well and I earned this. So maybe it's 100%. Maybe it's a period of like, I was really tight and locked in with my nutrition for a week. I earned this, cheat meal, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Or I, in even shorter time frame, I did this super hard hero workout. I earned this box of donuts, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think a better way to approach this is to be thinking forward. You're not thinking about a past meal and what it's banked you as a reward or something like that. You're thinking about stacking wins for the future. Each good meal that you have is building you towards something, whether that's improved performance, whether that's your weight loss goals or body composition goals, or the one thing that people seem to never think about is how you're going to feel in 5, 10, 15, 20 years when you've been taking care of your health for a long time. And just having this kind of approach where there is no finish line for your nutrition. It's not 90 days of locking it in and then I get to just totally let loose. This is a lifelong thing. Like you owe it to yourself to figure out how to feed your body to make it feel best because you have all the years that you have ahead of you and it matters. And also knowing that with this long-term, lifelong focus, goals change. Like the way that I feed myself now is way different than when I trained a lot harder, when I had more free time on my hands.
Performance-based.
Yeah, eating for health and longevity is a little bit different than eating for pure performance.
Right.
And knowing how to adapt to that is a big thing and a mindset that's important. Cool. So that's one. Another thing that I think people don't necessarily consider enough is the environment we're in today makes the worst possible choices the easiest. You could literally sit on your couch and on your phone order the most addictive thing in the world straight to your front door, pop open the package and go to town, right?
DoorDash for the win.
DoorDash, you could DoorDash some Oreos that are scientifically proven to take over your brain and just hijack all of your taste sensations, right?
Yeah.
So that is a tough thing to exist in, to have that level of convenience for things that are not good for you. And it's really easy to just fall into that, whether it's for lack of time or lack of knowledge and thinking that convenient things are good things. That's not always the case, but it can be.
Yeah.
So being aware of that is important. If we think back, we're talking about our childhood where it was the things that we're talking about, Gushers and everything is thriving, right? But think way farther back.
Baby bottle pops. You ever have those?
No, what is that?
Fun Dips?
Fun Dip, yes.
Fun Dip. Baby bottle pop is basically a Fun Dip in a bottle.
Oh, gosh.
And it was like a baby bottle.
Many summer days of my childhood was spent
Airheads.
licking a Fun Dip.
I love Fun Dips at the pool. Come on.
Oh.
Gosh.
Oh, but okay, think farther back than
Yeah.
our childhoods. That stuff was not even, that didn't exist, right? And what does that mean that ultra processed foods weren't around? It meant that cookies still existed. People still baked treats.
Yeah.
People still celebrated with big feasts and meals. But what did they have to do to make something like that come about? They had to put time and effort and work and collecting all the different ingredients involved in order to make something special.
Yeah.
And that totally changes not only how you approach eating something, but how your body processes it when it's actual real foods coming together, even if they're indulgent foods. So, a mindset that I definitely try and help people with in this current environment is to not think of foods in these like, I can't ever have a treat or something that's delicious and homemade. But I would say that it should come from your own hands, making it with as many whole food, real ingredients as possible with time, effort, and love put into it.
Yeah.
And so that mindset of being aware of the environment you're in and not giving into convenience and ease to get access to foods that are just not even real foods.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think especially my family is a big family. So convenience of bulk things and quick and easy things for my mom was a go-to. And not saying that those things are bad, but there is a better choice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There is a better choice. And there's a lot of things you can do to cook in bulk that go with what we're talking about with Whole Foods and stuff like that. There's methods and ways to get around that.
Yeah.
And that's just, like we said, nutrition is like a daily choice of one thing or another.
Yeah.
Right. And talk about food quality. I think my biggest realization was, okay, what kinds of foods am I putting in my body? When you understand what nutrition is, it's how you're fueled. Like your body it's a machine. It was made to do things. And it needs to be fueled. It's kind of like a car, right? You don't put water in a car, right? You put the right fuel in the car for it to run well. And that's how your body is. Your body will run right, usually, when you put the right things in it.
Yeah.
And that's, food quality. I think we're in this time and age where Costco and Sam's Club and all these things are a thing. And it's great to get bulk things, but foods are meant to last longer now, and they put stuff in it to last longer and those types of things. So it is just, can you gain the knowledge? Can we help you gain the knowledge of, okay, what's better to pick than another thing? And I would say for me, the food quality awareness really helped me understand, like when I started thinking about those things, my energy, my mood, my physique, all those things got better when I really understood what kinds of food I was putting in my body. When I was working out for a lot of performance, just a lot of added sugar, right? Gatorade, gummy worms, those types of things, which would get me the carbs that I needed. But that's a lot of added sugar. And I think, part of fitness in 100 words is no sugar.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that I really tried to do is stay away from added sugar. Now, am I perfect with it? Absolutely not. Like, we like to have some sugar sometimes, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you can never have sugar ever again, but it's that choice of like, hey, what would be a better choice in this point? Or, Whole Foods is better than not Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Things like that. So, I think prioritizing whole foods is something that we would want everyone to do. The more whole foods you can do, the better. And you'll see a difference in how you sleep and how much energy you have. It will. I was just talking with someone from the gym yesterday on a check-in, and we talked about doing 800 grams of fruits and veggies a day just to kind of get that whole food mindset in our daily life.
And to clarify, what you mean by whole foods is things with one ingredient.
Right.
An apple is an apple, right? We're not talking about, any specific category of things that are crafted or pieced together. It's just, it is what it is. A steak is a steak, an egg is an egg.
Right.
That's what we mean with whole foods.
Right. Yeah. And so I think with all of this stuff, right, with the nutrition talk, it is kind of like, we don't like to talk about it too much because it's your relationship with food is very important. And, I've come from the background where I obsessed over it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not good.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to obsess over it. You don't want it. Like if it's giving you anxiety, if you might have one piece of pizza and you have that and it's ruining your day, then that would be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right. But so that's why what we want and what we want everyone to understand is that success is really about consistency. It's not about being perfect. No one will ever be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You won't be perfect with your nutrition. It's impossible. No one's perfect.
If you are, it's for a very short period of time.
Right.
And you're probably not super happy.
And you're not happy and it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Right. So that's, I think, what we want to preach, and that's what we want to help people and instill in people is you have to find sustainable habits. So with your nutrition, it has to be sustainable for you.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to learn, okay, what kind of foods can I eat and how does this affect me?
Yeah. That's good.
So perfection, we do not want to obsess over that. We want to just, like you said, stack your days, stack meals. And if you go off the rails, right, that's just one time, get back on it as soon as possible.
There's a good saying of you're always one meal away from being back on track.
Ooh, that's good. We should hang that up in the gym. That's good. Just a couple common misconceptions too. I think conversations I've had. I eat healthy, right? I eat healthy.
I hear that a lot.
I eat chicken and rice, right? It's like, yes, those are healthy things. So I think, if I asked you, what does eating healthy mean?
I think I would say the best way to say that's true for someone is they eat whole foods.
Yeah.
Because someone could eat chicken and rice that they made at home they know every single ingredient that goes into it. And they could eat chicken and rice that they pick up at Panda Express. You know what I mean? So that I think is probably the biggest catch-all is keeping whole foods in the diet.
Yeah. I think that's the question is, I think a lot of people have this idea of healthy means, chicken.
And it might even be more subtle than that. It might not be, obvious. Panda Express might be a little obvious.
I don't eat out.
But you might be picking up packages of pre-cooked rice that have a bunch of additives in it that you're not even aware of. Or, pre-packaged seasoned chicken that has things that aren't working well with your body. Or it's pre-cooked and they added a bunch of preservatives in it. Right. That's kind of what we're getting at with leaning away from convenience, taking more ownership of what you're cooking for yourself and putting in your body.
Which is time-consuming and hard, but worth it.
For sure.
I think the moment we started doing that and going away from the convenience, because there are ways around, those are things that are convenient, but there are ways to still eat whole foods and be on top of it and not waste time, and you can get it done.
Yeah.
Just takes a little bit of preparation.
And learning.
Yeah, exactly. Just be open. And I think another thing is people either underestimate how much or how little they eat.
Definitely.
I ask a lot of people, how much protein do you get in a day? I eat tons of protein. Like, what does that mean? Right. And that's why I think helping people understand how much protein should you really have. Right. And we'll dive into that in a future episodes and stuff like that. Yeah. But those things are important.
Yeah. And that's I think having to focus a lot on quantity, how much you eat or how little you eat, is a product of the kind of environment we're in. Again, going back to that, the amount of food that you have at your fingertips at any given moment, it requires us, in order to be healthy, to think about it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just in a place where you have access to anything and everything you want. So
Yep.
you got to put some systems in place to manage that.
And I think,
Cool.
I think something that we can talk about now is what resources do we have at CrossFit Fordham for this? Because it's really important that the gym that you go to has. This is the most important thing you can do for yourself,
Mhm.
I believe.
Yeah.
Is getting your nutrition in order and dialed in and gaining that knowledge so that you can do it on your own
Yeah.
for the rest of your life. You don't have to know everything right now, but gaining the knowledge so that you can be sustainable, and then it will impact the rest of your life, your longevity and your health. And pairing that with working out is super, super important.
Yeah.
So what do we
totally.
have?
Yeah. Our approach is with one-on-one nutrition coaching.
Yep.
So we keep it simple and just have options that are varied based on how long and how big of a commitment you want, how many touch points you want with a coach. But all of it is one-on-one with a coach. All of it's individualized. We're not giving people, copy and paste templates.
Yeah.
Just eat this way, and you'll be fine. We try and really tailor it to lifestyle, the goals the individual has, and their current habits. And the overall approach is very educational. It's trying to teach you how to get to a point where you're on your own, like you're saying.
Yeah.
The goal is not to do nutrition coaching forever.
Right.
It's not that at all. We want you.
You want you to gain the knowledge.
Yeah.
And apply it.
We want you to have the foundation that you can build off of and run with, and become your own nutrition coach at some point, basically, where you're able to say, I want to try this and see how I feel with it. And you can execute something like that.
And that might ripple effect into your family or the people in your sphere of influence,
100%.
which is great.
Yeah.
And that changed a lot of people's mindset on things.
I know that absolutely happened with my family. As I talked about what we had growing up. And of course we did have some homemade meals too. It's not it's not literally,
No, it wasn't all bad.
It's not literally just aisles of chips and Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
But as I learned these things, it completely trickled out into my family buying different foods, the way that, my wife and I feed our daughter now. That stuff, it helps in the long run.
Yeah.
For sure, to be able to help other people.
Heck yeah.
And there's a big accountability component to nutrition coaching as well. So that's what we offer is either every week you're checking in with a coach, or even more frequent than that if you wanted to. But the big thing is to just reach out and ask. We'll give you all the details about what it looks like to get a custom.
Ask a coach. Ask me, Nick, or Aiden. We can definitely point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Key takeaways, right, of this episode. I think one of the biggest ones we want everyone to know and understand is that nutrition impacts every aspect of your life. Energy, mood, body composition, longevity. Our mission here is to build help you as a human build health and fitness and longevity. We want you to be the most healthy version of yourself that you can be for as long as possible. That starts with nutrition.
Yep.
Consistency over perfection. Don't obsess, right? Your relationship with food has to stay good. We don't want to be doing, and that's why a coach is so important, because you're able to help them understand it in a way that will help them. Not everyone's the same. Some people can count macros, some people can't. Some people can do the zone, people like different things, and it's a workaround. And that's why a coach is so important, even if it's for a short amount of time, helps you understand how to do things.
Yeah.
So consistency over perfection. Stack your days, whether it's nutrition, whether it's working out. And then I think food quality matters. Whole foods over ultra processed.
Yeah.
Try to get as much whole foods in your day as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Understanding your food, knowing what's in it, what kind of macronutrient, calorie composition something is, having that amount of knowledge when you're looking at a plate of food, it just allows you to get better results. You understand what you're putting in your body, and also understanding what goes into cooking, preparing it,
Yep.
and getting it on the plate. Another thing, your goals and your needs will change, adapting as you go,
Yeah.
knowing when it's time to change it up, and getting guidance when you need it. It might not be that you have a coach forever. You might have them for a short amount of time. You take a long break, and then your workout schedule, your sleep regimen, all changes, and you're like, man, I really need to reassess my nutrition, and you come back around to a coach.
Yeah.
So that's a very normal cycle for people to go through.
Yep.
So that's a big one. And then just these big overarching things of environment and mindset are just as important as food choices, and knowing that those things are important to think about and important to do what you can to control them in the right ways.
Absolutely.
This was a big one.
This is a big one. I mean, I know a certain amount of time, but I think it's the most important one.
It is.
Because it really matters. It really does.
I think it sets the stage for us to dive deeper into nutrition in more specific ways.
And it sets a good foundation
Yeah.
on your fitness and overall health.
Yeah.
I think.
Cool. So what we're going to ask of you guys is to reflect on your own nutrition. Think about what's shaped how you approach nutrition up to this point in your life. Think about how you're approaching it now. And if you're not happy with that, get help, because we all need it.
Yeah. And we can help.
Absolutely. And it doesn't need to be a big, small, or big, overwhelming thing. You can start small with your nutrition, make small changes, and those will add up over time.
Yeah. Reach out. If you want help, we're here for you. It'll change your life.
100%.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
You just ask around the gym. And I think you know who, there's tons of people who have used this resource, and they can tell you that it did change your life.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Follow, subscribe, and catch us next time. See you.